This is Cody Bjugan here from VestRight, and today I'm going to get a little bit vulnerable with you, and I'm going to tell you a bit more about my story and how I went from 9 to 5 to multi-millionaire, self-employed, to literally almost bankrupt, probably should have gone bankrupt, to then multi-millionaire, self-employed again. I'm excited to share that story with you today. Okay, so before I get into a little bit of the craziness of my history and what I've been through to get me and my family and our legacy in the place it is today, let me tell you just quickly how I've done it. What has been the biggest component that has allowed me to not only become a multimillionaire once, but twice now? And that is through raw land in the development space, a value add model that I've carved out in this industry that has created phenomenal seven-figure paydays numerous times over again, that has allowed me the time freedom and the financial freedom that I have today. If you don't want to hang around for my history, that's okay. You already want to learn more about this raw land in the development space and how I've generated seven-figure paydays over and over again. Go ahead and click the link in the description below, and then I'll take you right over to our site where you can dive into all the details, because that's not really the point of this video and what we're going to get into today. All right, so as we dive into my history here a little bit, I first want to say in this first part of my story, you're going to quickly realize that this is within the reach of anyone. And if I can do it, you can do it. And you're going to find out why here in just a second. I also want to say that this video can only be so long. So I'm going to hit the overview. I'm going to hit some quick points for you. And this goes clear back to when I was a senior in high school. Okay. I want to let you know, got my high school girlfriend pregnant, got married a month out of high school, had my son 3 months out of high school, and I was in the flooring union just to qualify for health insurance so I could pay for my baby boy. Okay. I want you to understand that's where my journey started before then, but that's a huge point I want you to understand. Oh, and by the way, I grew up in a small little town called Damascus, Oregon, that got its first street light when I was in high school. So understand, there was no money handed down to me. There was no business handed to me. Is that I just went out and got it, and I got it. I achieved this multi-million-dollar success through the business model that we teach over at VestRight. So I just want to lay the groundwork with that. Okay. So as in 2002, I decided to get out of the flooring industry and get into the land development space, the home building space, getting into raw land that has development potential. And I had amazing success 2002 through 2007. And in 2006, I mean, net worth's a funny thing, right? People look at net worth different ways, but I would say I was approximately worth $20 million at the age of 28. But I'll tell you what, I had a rude awakening coming in 2007, and I made a lot of mistakes, and I was young, didn't have mentors, wasn't doing courses, wasn't doing masterminds, wasn't doing all these things that, quite frankly, we're now teaching it and providing at VestRight, and that I'm very involved with myself personally in different groups and courses and masterminds I do. See, but the thing is, in 2007, I was developing in Oregon, Washington, and Idaho. And what happened is a market like Idaho, it's what's called an urban sprawl market, where there's more growth controls in states like Oregon and Washington. And the only reason I didn't go bankrupt during this time is because I was in Idaho. And so when I got hurt in Idaho, I got hurt there. I took some lickings there before the market had changed at all in Oregon or Washington, where most of my projects were. And so I just started getting out of projects and kind of cutting my losses. And so the reality is, if it wasn't for Idaho, there's no question I would have went bankrupt. And then I got in, through that downturn, I made a lot of mistakes not having, mentors around me to teach me what I needed to know, because I'll tell you what, you can make a lot of money in an up market, but you can build substantial wealth in a down market. And talk to some of the wealthy guys, and they'll second that. But anyways, I went on and I did an online health and fitness company, and I did different things. And I was really just focused on survival, keeping my head above water. And, but I don't really believe in regrets, but man, did I miss an opportunity in kind of 2008 through 2011 But anyways, what happened is in 2011, I started seeing little indicators that the real estate market was coming back. And so I chose to get right back into the same business model that I was doing before the Great Recession. And just slowly went along, trickled at that. And sure enough, what happened? Well, because we're in the value add business, I can't stress that enough. We're in the value add business, meaning we go and we find raw land that has development potential. We take it through the approval process, and then we sell it to our clients approved. We can get into all those details later. But through that model, I was able to become a multimillionaire again. You know what? Let me stop for a second. I want to get a little more vulnerable with you. There's my growth, our company's growth, our comeback the second time was slower than it should have been. And it's because I went through a tough time in my life. See, in 2000, man, was it 2000? It was around 2012. I had 2 IRS agents knock on my front door. And by the way, I'm sure we all know they usually send letters, not agents, to your front door. And I got accused of something called structuring. And you can look up what structuring was or is. But what happened is when the real estate market started coming back, some of the cash I had in my safe, which by the way was all after-tax dollars, and I had bills of sale for all that cash, I decided to put it back into the system, you know, for credibility reasons, right? For borrowing reasons. But I did it in the wrong way. And so, but what happened is, man, I think it lasted well over a year, potentially even 2 years. I was involved in this criminal case where I was facing 5 years in prison because structuring is a felony. And that was definitely my rock bottom. And I'm gonna be more vulnerable with you. During that time, I'm not a big fan of the victim mentality. It's actually one of my pet peeves. And I was a complete hypocrite during that time. I was a victim during that time. I felt sorry for myself and I escaped reality. I abused alcohol. I was getting drunk 3-4 nights a week just to escape. And it was a tough time. You know, how my business survived during that time. Thank the Lord. I have no idea. But, you know, that phase, which, yeah, the case lasted, I think, almost 2 years, but my loser stage lasted more like 3. It definitely slowed down my businesses, obviously, right? I was really negatively affecting my life and my legacy. But I'll tell you, the turning point is when I was at church and I heard a sermon. Just because you believe doesn't mean you have faith. And I grew up in the church. Well, I got saved when I was 8 years old, and I'd never heard a sermon quite like that one. And I always kind of looked at believing and faith as the same thing. And the reality is they're not. And really, this doesn't just relate to spiritual life. This relates to anything in life, is that you've got to believe in whatever it is you're doing or you want to do. But not only do you got to believe in it, you got to believe it's possible. You got to believe that you can do it. You got to be able to comprehend it. But you got to understand, faith is a component of the journey, is that you're not in control of everything. And so I realized believing was great, but faith is not the same thing as believing, but you have to have both. And so I started applying this to my life where, you know, let's go to my spiritual life, is that I believe in the Lord, but I realized I was a control freak and that I wasn't, I needed to give up control and I needed to surrender and I needed to have faith. And so I have this, now I call it believe, action, faith. I actually have a t-shirt about it, that believe in whatever it is, go take the action. And beyond that, you have to have faith. Get up every morning, hoe your field, plant your seeds. But guess what? The rest is not up to you. The vegetation is not up to you, right? You just need to plant the seeds. You need to take the action. And beyond that, you're not in control. And that was a huge pivoting point in my life that I'm forever thankful, and has allowed me to have a certain peace that is priceless. And I'll tell you what, whenever I don't have peace in my life, I can quickly go over and look at my faith and realize I'm not exercising my faith muscle like I should. All right, so through this idea of believe, action, faith, I was so thankful because my mind started to get right. and I started to become the man I wanted to be, right? The business leader I wanted to be, the father, the friend, so on and so forth, which then I was so thankful because everything started getting better in my life. My business started to take off. We started to capture the opportunity we wanted. We started to make these 7-figure paydays you probably heard me talk about. And one of the things that I'm most grateful for through getting my mind right was realizing this idea of PIF, which is a lot of people, PIF is paid in full. I didn't even realize that when I came up with my PIF, which actually I think I'm wearing the shirt right now. PIF, purpose, impact, fulfillment, is I started realizing that how do I bring value to others? That's truly how you can live a fulfilling life. Like, I don't even love the word happiness. I think happiness is temporary. I'm not at this point living this life to be happy. I'm living this life to be fulfilled and to impact my legacy. And so my business model that I know of, I'm the only one out there teaching this. I'm the only one out there teaching raw land that has development potential and this value add model that you can bring value to other people with limited risk and limited capital and still truly, and I can say this with a clear conscience because I've done it so many times, generate 7-figure paydays. So the question is, are you interested in a business model? And not only a business model that generates 7-figure paydays, but that's a blue ocean business model. How many people out there do you know that's teaching what I'm teaching? Like I said, that I know of, none. And that creates an opportunity for you. So the question is, are you interested in that? Do you want to be a part of that? And if you do, I can't suggest enough. Gather more information, dive in, get the detail. And you can do that by clicking the link in the description. And we have tons of content there where you can dive in and learn more. And I tell you what, if you even want to get on a call with our team, book a call with us and we'll explore this business model in your life and what your goals are. And if this is the right fit, we can be on this journey together. So with that said, I appreciate you very much. Thanks for watching. If you found this, well, I tried to be raw and vulnerable with you today. If you found this valuable in some way, inspirational in some way, do me a favor, subscribe to our channel, like the video, share the video. We want, who we are as a company, our authenticity. We're looking for more to be a part of their lives and to make an impact, right? Here again, purpose, impact, fulfillment. We want to be a part of other people's journey, and which is then a part of our legacy. So with that said, I want to hear back from you. What's going on with your mindset, with your emotion, how you're living each day that's not allowing you to pivot and generate that wealth, that generational wealth, that type of wealth that changes your life and your legacy forever? But what is holding you back from that? Is it limiting beliefs? Is it some scars from your past? Is it you're not giving yourself permission? Are you not empowering yourself? I want to hear what is truly holding you back. Put it in the comments below and we will follow up with you.